Hello again and welcome back to Real Talk Behind the Badge. I'm Tim, a military vet and retired police detective sergeant. This is the fourth video in a new part of our Real Talk, and what we intend to do is a little different this time. In this video, we're going to highlight a new law in Colorado, which is about to be signed by Governor Polis, who is from California. Surprise, surprise. And seems to dislike cops as much as Governor Newsome. Imagine being a police officer and having the federal government telling you one thing and the state passing a law that says the direct opposite. And if you don't do what the state tells you, they'll fine you up to $50,000. Now, I lived in Colorado for 32 years, so I have a lot of police officer friends out there, and I hope this podcast helps them just a little. I hope officers from other states chime in and give some support to their brothers and sisters also. They should also be aware of this possibility happening in their own blue states if they don't help stop it now. We will be evaluating this proposed new law at the end of the video and tell you exactly what we feel is bad law, possibly illegal, and what the cops in Colorado can do. So let's get going, and you can chime in at the end with your comments. We encourage everyone to leave a comment. If you have a video you would like us to analyze, please send it to the email viewed at the end of this podcast or below. Now, this is the open letter about Colorado's proposed sanctuary laws to ICE. It's from the Teller County Sheriff, Jason Mikesell, asking the feds for help. He says, the legislation by the Colorado State Senate and House of Representatives, as being approved by the governor, which prohibits county coordination with immigration and customs enforcement, greatly degrades the safety of our communities and causes irreparable financial harm to local governments and communities. These laws have also interfered with a signed contract between the Teller County Sheriff's Office and ICE, targeting only this one federal agency and all enforcement efforts to locate criminal illegal aliens. They ended a 20-year contract with ICE by legislative actions being signed into effect by Governor Polis that regularly offset our county budget by $1 million per year. This was a targeted law that affected our ability as a county and local governments to work with a federal agency. In creating a bar to coordination and information sharing between the local and federal law enforcement agencies, the state government has placed the safety and security of criminals over that of our residents purely because of the immigration status of those criminals. As a result, we've seen a notable increase in all categories of crime, from property crimes to the most violent. Additionally, as Colorado state government is diverting funds from programs which were in place to benefit and assist Colorado residents, they're going to newly created programs designed to provide sanctuary to those criminals. The Colorado legislature and governor now give preference to criminal illegal aliens who have committed rape, murder, attempted murder, sexual assault on children, and many more horrendous crimes. They give no consideration to the victims and state taxpayers who are both subject to and having to fund the deplorable actions of the state governor, attorney general, and legislative body as they interfere with Colorado law enforcement in their duties to protect and serve the citizens of Colorado. Now, I've known Sheriff Jason Mikesell personally for over 30 years. He's a damn good man and a great leader. Let's see what else he has to say about this proposed new law.
I've had a lot of questions today about an issue that has come up within the state of Colorado. Today I actually wrote a letter and I have sent it to ICE. The letter kind of outlines exactly what is happening with immigration issues within Colorado from all the different bills. Right now we're facing another bill that will be going out very soon, and I'm sure the governor is going to sign it, and that's 25276. Some of the issues that I've seen in the bill are very questionable to me as to why we would be doing such a thing. And here's what I mean by that. In the bill 276, it allows for through this legislation that we can be sued as deputies and officers and law enforcement officers and any state official that gives personal information that is identifying about someone that is undocumented to ICE. But here's the problem with that. What's occurring now is that the state of Colorado is trying to create an issue where sheriffs are having to make a decision between federal law and state law. And it puts us in a really bad position in the middle. And it seems to me this is happening more and more throughout Colorado. And unfortunately, it calls into question which laws we are to follow and which laws we shouldn't follow. And I think at a certain point in time, I think the public needs to understand what's happening. So I wrote this letter to discuss the issues that have happened with the older bills like 1100 and bills where they took away our rights to house ICE inmates, and the new bill. Because this new bill, if allowed to continue and the governor signs it, would then have a $50,000 fine for my deputies to give any information to ICE. The first time in history we're not able to work with one targeted law enforcement organization that deals with criminals. And unfortunately in the state of Colorado, no one is listening to the fact that we keep telling them that we're not dealing with just undocumented folks. We are dealing with criminals, cartels, organized crime. And there's only one way to deal with those folks, and that's through ICE. We've given the data more times than I can remember at this point. This letter was not for me to question the data. It's to really send this to ICE to let them show the data, because I think at some point, my hope is that they will use my letter, but it's a cry and appeal to the U.S. government to deal with some of our immigration issues, because at this point, nobody's listening to us at a state level. The DEA and ATF and FBI all have pieces and parts to that type of enforcement. But the main enforcement body that deals with people coming over the borders illegally and bringing drugs into your neighborhoods and all those different aspects is really ICE. But now here's the other problem. Each of those organizations have their own silos that they work in for different information. But now the United States government has seen fit to make all agents, FBI, DEA, ATF, HSI, or Homeland Security, de facto ICE agents, which means the law now covers all of those agencies if we give them information that has something to do with immigration issues. Now, what they'll tell you in this law is that, well, we're not trying to stop enforcement if it is done for criminal issues. But who gets to decide whether it's a criminal issue or if it's a civil issue? Well, that's going to be dealt with by an attorney firm who's going to decide, like the ACLU. But really for law enforcement, what happens when they deem that this is actually a civil case instead of a criminal case? Because we don't get to deem that. It puts us all in a very big issue for dealing with criminal and civil litigation issues. So those civil litigation issues would then have us pay a $50,000 fine once the lawsuit is concluded to a fund that's been set up by Governor Polis and many of the Democratic legislature to fund an organization such as the ACLU to file suit against us again. It makes no sense to me why we would force deputies to have to pay that when they make just over the $50,000 fee that they may have to pay. Does it make sense to you? So that's why I sent this letter today. I'm sick of people telling us how to enforce the laws of the state of Colorado and federal immigration issues for criminals. I think that needs to be done in law enforcement, not by state legislatures that have no idea what they're creating. And what they are creating is a sanctuary state where criminals can abound. They create more victims in the state of Colorado, and they create very much higher taxes by doing those crimes. And now you and I have to pay for those issues. They have to be prosecuted. They have to be housed within our prisons. Right now, Department of Corrections, Department of Probations, and Parole are not giving that information of who's here illegally that have committed crimes to ICE. So when they're released from those facilities, they go right back in your communities, no matter what the crime they've committed. That umbrella, that safety net that they have, that the legislator has given them, have been given to murderers, thieves, attempted murderers, rapists, child sex assault folks, and people who run sexual slavery. Is this the Colorado we want? Are these the people that we want to protect through a Colorado state legislature and a governor and a attorney general's office? I don't think it is. And here's the problem with this. all at the same time of intimidating law enforcement officers not to do their jobs. So, Colorado, that is why I sent this message out. I'm a sheriff that believes that we do have the rule of law. I also believe that we have dignity and respect for everyone. But at a certain point, we have to follow the law. And if the law says that we have to deal with criminal illegal aliens in this state, we should be. And unfortunately, I'm tired of watching you be victimized. So that is why I sent this letter today. A lot of people are asking us what you can do. Here's what you can do. You can reach out to the governor's office and request that he veto this bill. That is the only way this works, is if he vetoes this bill. So thank you, Teller County, for everything that you do. I appreciate you very much, and I'm glad to be here as your sheriff. Have a great day.
You know, I'm going to have to call bullshit on this law, on Governor Polis, on the Attorney General, and on the liberal legislature that passed this law. First, they take away the immunity from the police, and now they pass a law saying they can fine officers up to $50,000 if you give any information to ICE. This is crazy. When are the level-headed residents in this state going to wake up? Now imagine you're a Colorado officer. A liberal judge has just released an illegal alien on a small cash bail after an armed robbery attempt. And you know ICE has a detainer on him, and you want to know, and they want to know where he is. You know where he's staying. Do you tell ICE where he's at so they can drag his ass out of the country and risk a $50,000 fine or not? This is the dilemma that you're going to face. Colorado's SB 25276, awaiting Governor Polis' signature, prohibits police from sharing status information with ICE, which conflicts with the federal statute, which bars such restrictions. The Supremacy Clause makes federal law supreme, and the DOJ's 2025 lawsuit against Colorado suggests that SB 25276 is likely unconstitutional and may be enjoined. Officers should prioritize federal law, which allows voluntary sharing. But since the federal law doesn't mandate reporting, you can avoid sharing unless it's required, like in criminal cases or judicial warrants. And that'll minimize potential state penalties. You should document any actions you take, consult department counsel or unions, and monitor court rulings. This is a real legal dilemma, and cops are caught in the crossfire. Ever been caught between state and federal rules? How's it hitting your department? Leave a comment below and subscribe for more Real Talk from Behind the Badge. So there you have it. One of my intentions is for police officers to learn from other officers and get discussions going here. If departments would like to use these videos for training, please let me know. Make sure to hit subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. If you are in law enforcement, active or retired, let us know. I want to give a special thanks to Sheriff Jason Meixel for sharing his information. For more information and videos, go to realtalkbehindthebadge.com. You can view all our podcasts on YouTube, Real Talk Behind the Badge, as we make them. If you hit subscribe, you'll be notified of each podcast. Please hit the like button also. We're on Facebook at Real Talk Behind the Badge, where you can also view all of our podcasts. So thanks to all our brothers and sisters behind the badge. This is Real Talk, signing off until next time. Thank you.